Cheers, guys, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Pancast Podcast. Today we have got some new carbon steel skillets to talk about, an OXO, a Merten Storck. We've got an article that's been in Food and Wine talking about the best carbon steel skillets for 2023. I got a few problems with that article. We're going to go through that. We're going to talk a little bit about some more hot sauce, an update from Pebbly, and more. Let's jump in and get started. I want to point your attention to an article in Food and Wine called "We Tested the Best Carbon Steel Pans for 2023. These are our favorites." Now I'll put a link to this below. This has been popping up in my Twitter feed for a couple of months now, and around here we talk about carbon steel all the time. I'm sure the algorithm is serving me lots of carbon steel content, but how could I not click on that headline? So I clicked on it and went through their list, and the first thing that jumped out at me is that they said their best pan, their favorite pan. And I should point out, when they use the word "these are our favorite pans," that lets you know it's an opinion piece. So there's some wiggle room when there's opinions. Different people have different thoughts and different preferences. People can have different opinions. But they said their favorite pan for 2023 is a Merten Storck. Running through some of their list here, their runner-up was a Moviel. Best non-stick was a 10-inch Made In blue carbon steel pan. Their best splurge was a Smithy. Smithy, really high-end. I don't have a Smithy yet. If I win the lottery, maybe someday I'll get a Smithy. And their best value was a Volrath. And best preseason was a Lodge. And then they had a section for what didn't make the list. And down in what didn't make the list was both Matfer and Debouille. And around here we love Matfer and Debouille. They're my top carbon steel. I like the Moviels as well. And they also said an OXO carbon steel did not make the list. So I started looking at the list, and I think I have reviewed at least 5 of the pans on the list, but I didn't have a Merten Storck, an OXO, or a Volrath. So taking that as a cue for an excuse to get a few more carbon steel skillets, I ordered some. The Merten Storck and the OXO have come in, and they arrived the other day, and the box showed up, and my wife said, "Well, what'd you order?" And I said, "Well, got a couple more carbon steel skillets." And she gave me the old wife trifecta: 1 huff, 1 sigh, 1 eye roll. But she watched me open up the box, and the first thing she said is, "Did you get 2 of the same pan?" I said, "No, one should be an OXO, one should be a Merten Storck." But we started looking at the pans, and they look very, very similar. And the Volrath hasn't come in yet. I don't have that one yet. But here is the OXO. And here is the Merten Storck. Now, I'm already a little bit annoyed with this article to begin with. But I want to start pointing out a few things here. The Merten Storck, right here on the front, it says Germany. Established 1873. Is this a German pan? No, it is not. If you look on the side, it says made in China. Now, I'm not disparaging, or actually I am disparaging a little bit, but if you want to buy cheaper cookware made in China, it's a free country, you do whatever you want. I tend to like the more real deal stuff made over in Europe, some of the stuff made in the United States. I don't like the cheaper stuff coming in from Asia. And then we started looking at these pans, and if you look on the sides, they are both distributed by the Cookware Company, USA LLC. And this one also, the Merten Storck. Cookware Company, USA LLC. So both pans, they look exactly the same, they feel exactly the same, they both come pre-seasoned. The only differences are that the OXO has a slightly different handle, and it comes with this removable silicone protector. Other than that, I cannot tell any difference in these 2 pans. As a matter of fact, I went online and I looked at the promo images for both of these pans, and the sink, the lady washing one of these pans or using one of these pans as a sink, the sink is the same sink in the promo images for this pan and for this pan. If you want to waste some time online, after you get done watching this video, I suggest you go to Alibaba and type in frying pans or carbon steel frying pans to see what pops up. I think you will find a lot of manufacturers offer the same pan bodies. You can customize the handle and the label, and they will produce a batch of pans for you. And I think, now I don't know for sure, I think these two pan bodies on the OXO and the Merten Storck, I think they're the same thing. I think they're the same pan. I think they've just customized the labels and put very ever so slightly different handles on these guys. Now that's very interesting because on that Food and Wine article where they list the pans, this is their favorite pan, and this one was not included in the list. I think they're the exact same pan. How is that possible? I don't know. So I am going to do some testing on these and checking and see. But that really annoys me right there. They also talk about their tests for this article, cooking eggs in carbon steel. They say they didn't use any fat or oil or butter. I don't know anybody that can cook an egg in carbon steel without any type of fat, oil, or butter and get any type of non-stick results. So what worries me a little bit about that is that these skillets both have a factory applied seasoning, and it doesn't feel like seasoning that I am used to on a carbon steel skillet. And what I hope is that it's legit seasoning and not some sort of non-stick surface or anything like that applied to a carbon steel. So I don't know about that yet. Don't want to jump the gun here. I have not been through every skillet in this list. I have not even taken the labels off of these guys yet and done any cooking. But I am a little bit suspect. Now these are lighter weight, and it just is odd to me that this is somebody's favorite carbon steel skillet versus the Debouille. I mean, look at that handle compared to this handle. And the weight difference is stark. It doesn't appear on camera. Or my beloved Mapfre. But somebody likes the Merten Storck better. So also they said best non-stick, that made-in pan. I had trouble with that made-in pan, and it's one of the carbon steel pans I have not recommended because I had so much trouble with eggs sticking in that pan. So if they are getting non-stick eggs in a made-in 10-inch blue steel carbon steel skillet with no fat, no butter, no oil, then something is going on. So I'm not sure exactly what, but before too long, as soon as I get that Volrath, I will have every pan on this list, short of that Smithy. I've already reviewed 5 of them. There'll be 3 more, the OXO, the Merten Storck, and the Volrath. And we'll go through that list and see, are their recommendations valid, or are there other points of view out there that might be a little more valid or more helpful for people's money. All right, we were talking hot wing sauce, Frank's Red Hot Wing Sauce last week. There's all kinds of different SKUs, and I find them a little bit confusing. There's Hot Buffalo, there's Hot Nashville, there's regular Nashville, Buffalo Hot, mild, on and on. Not every store around here carries every flavor, and I think it's getting a little bit out of hand. And I mentioned that there's no graphic on the label that indicates how hot these hot sauces are. Several people pointed out that I am incorrect about that, and they are correct. I was incorrect. There is a graphic, but it's on the back. I still think it should be on the front, because when you're in the grocery store and you see 6 different bottles of hot sauce, do you really want to pick every one up and turn it around and do a comparison back and forth? I don't think so. I think it should be on the front. Okay, quick timeout there from the old Pancast. The reason we've been talking about all these hot sauces is that I bought a bunch of them because I'm cooking some chicken wings in this Hamilton Beach Cool Touch deep fryer for a review. So a little timeout here. I just got done cooking a couple batches of wings. I used some Frank's Red Hot Wing Hot Buffalo Sauce, some of the regular Buffalo Sauce, some of the Nashville Hot Sauce, And for a wild card, some Buffalo Wild Wings medium sauce. I liked all of them, and honestly here, I'm probably going to need to do a little more research. But if I had to pick only one, I think I kind of like that Nashville Hot Frank's Buffalo Wing sauce. But they were all very good. So look for a big in-depth review of this Hamilton Beach Cool Touch deep fryer soon. And now back to your regularly scheduled Pancast. Pebbly. We talked last week about some stuff from Pebbly, and I like these measuring, beaker-style measuring flasks, if you will, but they have metric measurements on them. I talked to my contact at the Bouye, who talked to somebody at Pebbly, and they know that, and they are making another iteration or another batch, or I don't know how to describe it, but the next ones that come in will have the English measurements on there. So when those arrive, I will have an update on the English measurements being put on the Pebbly measuring flasks for people in America. I put up a question over on Uncle Scott's Twitter, and if you haven't signed up for Uncle Scott's Twitter, it is at USK Uncle Scott on Twitter. I'm doing some sort of post every day. I put up a poll over there and asked, and this is for us, for the germaphobes and people who've gone crazy with all the pandemics lately. I asked, at a fancier restaurant, would you pay a $5 fee for new, never been used silverware and drinkware? So one of the things I think is completely disgusting, you go to a restaurant and look at what everybody's doing with a fork, and then they get washed and you do it with a fork. It's just mentally disgusting. I have to put it out of my mind. I can't think about it. Surprisingly here, 11% of people said they would pay a fee for silverware that's never been used. Doesn't sound like much, but extrapolate that over 100 million restaurant diners, there may be a revenue model there. Likewise at hotels, I might pay a fee to pre-purchase a pillow. Maybe I pay a fee, I get a new pillow, and I get to take that pillow home with me. And no one else has ever slept or drooled on said pillow. I don't know, I might do it. 20 bucks for a pillow? Maybe so. New York State and New York City seemingly overrun with the illegal immigration crisis. Would it have been a better use of the government's time to have prepared for said immigration crisis rather than pestering people about gas stoves? They banned gas stoves. Everybody who said they weren't going to ban gas stoves told me I was crazy. You were all wrong. They banned gas stoves. Let's see, viewer mail. Alex Mintez writes in and says, Scott, can you tell us what a family of 3 does with 30 frying pans and 4 deep fryers? Actually, this family is probably 50 frying pans and 10 deep fryers, and what we do is argue with my wife about where to store these things. I go to Sam's or Costco and I buy the wire storage shelves and put those up and store my pans on those. But yes, it does cause a lot of problems, but hey, I love frying pans and this is what I like to do, and I just have to find somewhere to stick them. Okay, look somewhere on the screen for links to other Pancasts you might enjoy. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Pancast.